33-story hotel and condo project.
I'd probably be
Okay,
like
like
that.
stop, tap.
This is a plan by the community for the community.
This one here, show me.
No problem, Ken. Thanks for having me.
It's Kent Mulgat for Kelowna Now. And we're joined by Jim Hamilton, president of Okanagan College. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So you've been the guy since the very beginning, since OUC split into the Okanagan College again and the new UBC Okanagan. So it's been quite a journey, hasn't it, from this climactic decision and then following it to now?
Yeah, it has. It's been not just an interesting time, it's been a great time. Again, I think it was a great time for the college, and it's been a great time for post-secondary in the Valley. I know there was some dissension about the decision to start with.
A lot of disappointment too. I mean,
bit
people
of that
wanted
as well,
OUC to be its own university, and it went a different way.
Yep.
A good way, I think, but a lot of disappointment at that time, and I'm sure you saw people around you who were feeling that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was a trying time for a lot of my colleagues, but we made a decision early on the college side of things that we've been given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build on a really solid basis, because Okanagan University College was a great institution in its own right. And now we had a chance to take the college portion of that and see what we could do with it that would provide value to the students in this region and well beyond. And that's exactly what's happened.
Right. So you came at it. You had been the dean at the Vernon campus.
Yes.
Right, and an English instructor prior to that.
Yes.
So then you were handed the reins of this college, which was now had lost its sort of university portion, and it had 3,000 plus students. So was it like picking up out of the ruins, or
not really?
No.
Not really, because we had whole program areas that came to us intact, and then there were some, like arts and science, that were divided between the two institutions. So it wasn't like there were smoking ruins here.
Right.
A lot of people embraced this as an opportunity to get a new lease on life, and to do some things, realize some of their dreams and their aspirations. So we approached it from a positive perspective. We acknowledged the pain that this is causing for some folks, and we tried to make sure that we'd help those people. And then we moved ahead, and we haven't looked back. So
Right.
today we now have within the Valley more than double the number of post-secondary spaces that were present in the best years that OUC had. So that's
Right.
progress in that sense. The college, I think, defied a lot of people's expectations. We have grown tremendously. We've seen about a 50% increase in enrollment in that period of time since our first year of operation as the new college, which was 2005-06.
Are there areas where it's growing because of its reputation, areas where it's drawing people in, where they say, hey, Okanagan College has a good program for this?
That's absolutely. We have about 230 programs in total
Right.
that we offer. So what our main academic disciplines, arts and science, technology, health, foundational programs, business, and trades. So we've seen growth in every area. Now, trades was, of course, one of the biggest growth areas.
And we've seen some new facilities in trades.
We have. We've put up or built or bought, I should say, new facilities in trades on every campus now. With the the Vernon campus's trade building will be open next month. We'll see its first students in August.
Right.
So with that building coming on stream, then we have new facilities that weren't there in 2005. For trades training. We're the second biggest trades trainer in the province, next to BCIT.
Right.
So we've seen huge growth. We've grown those programs by over a third of their original size.
Right.
So that's been a big growth area for us. But it's not the only growth area. Our business program is another one that we're well known for. We do offer the BBA, and I would argue one of the best undergraduate business programs in the country. And the reason I can say that is because of performance of our students. When they attend competitions, all the good work in the community the Enactus students do, and the fact that that program did not shrink and is attracting students not only from other parts of British Columbia and Canada, as well as serving the local population, but from around the world.
Yeah, well, one thing I noticed, and it seems to me that the college tends to talk in terms, like when I was visiting you guys during your opening of that new trades program you've got going, where you're talking about how many people are finding employment. It does seem like maybe more than a university that you're very responsive to the demands of the employment sector, and you're very interested in your people taking your programs and getting jobs.
Well, we're interested in that, but we have really, I guess, a number of functions. So that's definitely one of them. And so when you look at a program like trades, the reason it exists is to get people into the workforce, into well-paying careers. So we've done a really good job of expanding opportunity there. And the same could be said for a number of our other programs, particularly vocational programs in health and science and technology, as well as the myriad of programs that we offer through continuing studies that lead people directly into the workforce, or take people that are in the workforce who want a new set of skills or updating their skills, give them that opportunity so they can go to the next step in whatever their life plan is.
Yeah.
But the thing we need to never forget is there's another huge function in British Columbia that colleges, including Okanagan College, play. And we are a pathway for many students to ultimately a university degree. Now, we have 2 degrees that we offer because we also have one in computer information systems,
Right.
which is enjoying a bit of a renaissance right now because there are a lot of jobs
Yes.
that leads to. So it's a much smaller program than our business degree program. But for students in arts and science, they're coming to us for a year or 2, some cases a little bit more. So they can then move into one of the universities, whether it's UBCO, where most of our students go, or one of the other universities in the province or outside the province, and complete a university degree. So we're a port of entry into the post-secondary world for a myriad of people with all kinds of different needs. We can take somebody who wants to learn how to read so they can read their grandchildren's stories because they don't have that capacity. We can teach them that. We never know where they're going to go, right, no matter where they enter. But we can take somebody who is a high academic achiever, who has chosen to come to this institution because of its reputation, because of its location, because of its affordability. We know these are all factors.
Right.
And then we can get them started on their road, or even they can complete that whole program with us. So we're expanding in all different directions. You may know that we now have 13 locations up and down the valley. So our region extends from Revelstoke, Salmon Arm, all the way down to the border.
Right.
And so here in Kelowna, for example, we have not only the KLO campus, which is our biggest campus by far, but we also have a facility in the Innovation Center where we're offering a brand new animation program in response to the demand from that industry, plus a bunch of other programs for people who are entrepreneurs or startups who are going to want to work in businesses related to IT. And then we also have 2 locations out at the airport. We're in a partnership for pilot training. We've been doing that for years.
Right.
And then we also have a really cool relationship with KF Aerospace. So we're training structures technicians for KF Aerospace on site, sometimes using some of their people to help with the instruction. They benefit because they have a crying need for the students coming out of our program. In fact,
Right.
I've hired every student for the last couple of programs that
That's
have graduated, and they're actually paying for a portion of the cost of training. They're not once going to do it again. So that's here in Kelowna alone, and remember we do have operations up and down the valley as
Yeah.
well.
So I think innovative is a fairly fair description,
yeah.
right? You're working outside of the box and managing all these different campuses. You've got a lot on your plate there.
Yeah, I do, but remember I used to be what we're now calling a regional dean. When I was in that position, we called it, I think, a regional principal or something like that.
Yeah.
But we have people who are responsible for a lot of the operation of the campuses in each of our 4 main
Right.
regions. And those people share the load. So people like Phil Ashman, who's the one that we have here, Phil is heavily involved in almost anything that's happening in this town, representing the college, because I can't be everywhere. I also have provincial and federal responsibilities too, so I can't be everywhere, but Phil can certainly help out and does a great job of connecting the college to the community, because remember the community college movement is rooted in community. That doesn't just mean training people for specific jobs. It means opening pathways for people from all walks of life to get engaged in post-secondary education. It also means that we work with employer community to provide opportunity for the local folks and people from outside the region to gain the skills that those employers need. And I would say this, if you look into the future, that we are going to see, we're already seeing, the skills gap reasserting itself. So when we talked about KF Aerospace, that's a good example of an employer who's discerned a need, needs to do something about it, is willing to invest some of their resources in making sure they're getting that skilled workforce they need.
So you want to fill that gap.
We do, and we'll do what it takes to do it as long as it's legal and ethical and won't get me in trouble with the provincial government.
Sounds like a plan. But you mentioned the future. What do you envision changing at that campus in the next little while?
Well, this campus, we're going to have to solve some interesting challenges.
Like you have a basketball teams without a gym.
I knew you were going to mention that somehow. Yes, we do. We're really fortunate. So there's a good example of how entrepreneurial the college can be and how it can work closely with the community. So we have a number of individuals in the community who came forward and said, you really need to have a basketball program because you have students who want to continue to play basketball. We don't have a gymnasium in Kelowna on the campus. So they put their heads together and they formed a club. And they actually run the program with us. We have a partnership agreement. So that's providing now students the opportunity to play basketball in Pac West this starting season. They had an exhibition season for the first season last year, men's team, women's team. Both did exceptionally well. So they're going to be starting into league play. And we don't have a gymnasium. So you'd think, how can you do that? Well,
that's innovative.
Well, it's not just the colleges being innovative. We give full credit to the folks in the community.
But will you get a gym?
Well, it is one of our top priorities on our 5-year capital plan. So every year we have to submit a 5-year capital plan to the ministry, our ministry, to the provincial government. And that all gets fed into the hopper, and they'll make what decisions they make.
Right.
So I think what will happen there is I can probably confidently predict, yes, we will have a gymnasium.
Well, it must be a good argument when you say to them, we already have a team. That's got to help.
It does, but I always feel a bit sorry for government because there's so many people coming out in so many different directions with great needs and good ideas. So even here, yes, the gymnasium is important to us as probably as part of a wellness center. So if we can combine that project with residences, expansion of residences, with some of our health programming, with providing health services for students on campus, with helping to deal with the whole mental health issue so that are really coming to the fore in post-secondary institutions. So we can do a number of different things. This is how we try to look at each problem. Say, okay, what is the best method here? I mean, are we going to build a standalone gymnasium? Maybe, if that's what it takes to get it done. Or are we more likely to integrate it with a number of other needs and satisfy more than one group within the college community? Probably. So there's what we're planning right now is we're putting forward a proposal that's more than just the gymnasium, but the gymnasium is a key part of that.
Right.
And it certainly, it's always irked me that we don't have a gymnasium on this campus because I don't know of any other college this size that hasn't had one. And of course we did have a gymnasium or access to one because the one that's at what used to be the North Kelowna campus, which is now UBCO, was in fact there because of a fundraising campaign within the community under the OUC days. So unfortunately it was a geographical remove. We couldn't move the gym down here. So now we're going to have to, so that's one of our key issues, yes. Also really important to us is affordability. So students are up against it. I mean, our programs are not free for the most part. And so there's cost to the student or the families or both to gain an education. And one of the compounding factors here in this community and right up and down the valley is the lack of affordable housing for students. That just ramps up the cost.
Yep.
And we know what the vacancy rates are. They range from 0% in the Salmon Arm to something less than 2% at any given day here in Kelowna. And our students are competing with others for the affordable housing that will also service young people getting into the market, people of modest means who want to have a decent place to live. So a big part, and the number one priority of our capital project list is student housing, not just here, but also in Vernon and in Salmon Arm. But we're putting together a proposal. We're working with the ministry to make sure that we do a good proposal that will speak to it. But if you think about it from a social perspective or an economic development perspective, and we know housing's an issue here in this community, one of the ways you can actually lessen some of the pressure on affordable housing is by getting the students out of that market onto campus in purpose-built accommodation. So we're
Right.
talking 400 additional spaces. We have 150 at the moment, roughly,
Right.
on campus, but increasing that by 400. So that'd be
How
400
soon would
out
you
of it.
envision that coming to fruition?
Well, that depends on
If everything went well.
Yeah, if everything went well, I'd love to be starting construction on that project within the next 2 years. Maybe that's a little optimistic. I don't know. What we do at the college and have done very well, we've done over $100 million worth of construction since 2005 on the various campuses. What we do very well is we plan. We plan hard, and then when opportunity presents itself, we try to line up our plan with the opportunity. So when it came to trades training, we'd already articulated the need that we had for trades training, so we benefited from the federal provincial funding.
Right.
And twice on that front. So that's what we do. And I have no idea, because I'm not in the driver's seat entirely, at what point the money will start to flow for that particular purpose. It is a high priority for the provincial government, and we will do everything we can to help them meet that goal of theirs, particularly in the Okanagan College.
Right. Terrific. I think we've gone way over time. Interesting
Okay.
stuff. Thanks
All
for
right,
coming
thank
in.
you. Okay.
Jim Hamilton, president of Okanagan College. You're watching Kelowna Now.